Hey, this is David for Big Bits. In this video, we've got a lot of things to kind of catch up on for the channel. Want to share a couple of things with you all, but first of all, I did want to point out that we have published our RSI and smoothed RSI bull div strategy that we are working on in the PineScript tutorial series. See, it's got some really good entries on some positions here. You look at the strategy tester. This is exactly what you're going to see on the script page when you go to actually look at this one, because it has done pretty good on 5-minute candles. It is kind of designed with the default values for 5-minute candles, but you'll see 100% hit rate all the way back to February 2nd, so a month now, and pretty decent returns for that. It's definitely not something that's going to catch everything. If I've shown you in the videos for that on different assets that are a little bit more volatile even than Bitcoin, that it might not work as well. So you kind of have to play around with these until you find numbers that work for whatever you're working with. But for those of you who've seen it, I'll go over that in just a minute. I did want those of you who are just kind of catching up on this, had quite a few people like one of the new indicators that I've put out, and I'll actually show you that one right now. Let's see, this one is the Rsi Call-Outs, and this is actually something that somebody suggested we create in the comments here on YouTube. So essentially what this is, instead of pulling up the RSI in another window down here and taking up some of your screen space, what we're doing is we're just waiting until the RSI gets above or below a certain number, and then we're calling it out on the actual chart. And it does a pretty good job of helping you recognize when things are oversold or overbought, and you can customize it. We'll go over that in a little bit more detail, mainly just covering labels on these, and then there's something else I'm working with RSI, which you might have seen if you saw me pull this one up. It's going to be really interesting. We'll talk about it when we get around to the PineScript tutorials again. But once again, this one is something somebody suggested in the YouTube comments. So if there's something you want to see, chances are I can make it. If not, we'll learn how to do it and probably make a video about it. But I really like this one. It's really easy, nice and clean on the chart. So when you get rid, if you didn't have all this stuff on the chart for the positions, it would be really clean. But I'm going to take that off now. I want to go over a couple of the settings really quick on this. Take profit and stop loss, those are self-explanatory. The RSI look back period, that's pretty self-explanatory if you know what the RSI is. I'm going to be working on some more of the trading indicators explained, so on those videos, so that people can kind of understand what the RSI is. I've been really focused on the development stuff here in Pine, so haven't really done those, but we'll get back around to those. And the buy below the lowest low in RSI divergence look back. Essentially, what this does is it looks for the lowest RSI value in the look back period. So it'll look back like 20, 30 candles, whatever we have it set to. I think it's set to 10 here. So it'll look back 10 candles for the lowest RSI value. And at that lowest RSI value, it'll save the price. But if you set the buy below target percentage to something greater than 0, it'll actually trigger the buy once you get a certain percentage below that, or require that you get a certain percentage price below that. So if the low was here, it would require that the price dropped like 0.5%. So right here. So once it gets below that and the other conditions are met, it could buy. But if all the other conditions were met above that, but the buy below price was set too high, then it wouldn't trigger the purchase. So that's how that's used. And then, of course, you're using the closing price for the RSI look back here. And we also have RSI currently below. This requires that the current RSI on the chart is actually below 30 in this case. The RSI divergence look back period, this is how far back it's going to look for a divergence. And the RSI lowest in the divergence look back currently. So that's looking back into the past for the RSI, the lowest RSI in that period. I think I said 10 before. That's actually the smooth RSI look back period. So this is a moving average. This uses the whole moving average. It's kind of hard coded in there. We can't change that moving average right now, but you can change the period of that whole moving average for the RSI there. My apologies. I think I messed up on that a little bit earlier. But yeah, so it by default it'll go back 25 candles, and then also there is a kind of backup plan. If your take profit and stop loss don't get hit for a while, it'll automatically sell above whatever the RSI value is here. So if you don't want to use this, I would just set it to like 101, because that's not possible with the RSI indicator. The minimum SRSI downtrend length. This is our smoothed RSI. So not only do we need to be below the price that it was at the lowest RSI in the history in the 25 period back, but we also need to have a smooth or a moving average of the RSI that's also moving down, and we want that moving down average to have occurred at least 3 times in a row before it'll buy. And this kind of shakes out some of the positions that would have occurred while the price was still dropping, although that still does happen quite a bit on more volatile type things. And then the smooth RSI, which is that moving average we talked about, also has a currently below target. And if you don't want to use this, just like with the sell above, you can just set it to 100 and it'll work all the time if you're just focused on RSI. But with the smooth RSI, it also makes sure that it's at a low state as well, and it's been dropping. That's just kind of how those moving averages work with that. But I'm trying not to go over this for too long. We'll have videos in the Pine Script tutorial series specifically for those. But if you're interested in that stuff, please check out the TradingView profile. Definitely have a lot of people checking it out lately. I think there's been 20 something likes on the Rsi Call-Outs indicator that I showed you earlier, and that was just made like 24 hours ago or something. So yeah, it's been going pretty well here. We've had a lot more people watching the channel. Everything's been really good. So there are a few other things that I wanted to share, mostly just about the channel and catch you all up on things. So first of all is, you may or may not notice I use the Brave browser, and I've been wanting to tell you all about this for a while. I mean, I'm sure some of you all have noticed I've used the Brave browser, but I really do enjoy using the Brave browser. I use it as my default browser on all my devices now, mostly because it has the ad blocking and the private tracking shields built in. But of course, the Brave rewards are nice as well, and I'll show you about that in a second. But my favorite thing, and I've been dying to show you all this, I don't know why I haven't done it yet, but this is a new tab that I've pulled open, and it shows you your statistics for the entire life of your browser. And you can see I have tons of ads and trackers blocked, a bunch of HTTPS upgrades. Essentially what that is it takes a URL that you type in, and if you try to go to just HTTP, the unencrypted connection, then it will try to attempt the HTTPS connection if the site has it set up. And of course, you will be working on a much more secure connection. And then because of the ad blockers and the trackers block, the loading time a lot of times is faster. It says it saves you 8.2 hours, but in some cases the pages actually load a little bit slower. I would say most pages load quicker, but some pages do load slower because they're waiting on third-party things to happen, and if they time out because they're blocked by third-party trackers, then it might take the site longer to load certain things. And there are other issues with the shields. Certain websites, they rely on third-party things to actually accomplish what they're doing, and just the way they were set up isn't really friendly to the way the shields work. So on some sites you'll notice you'll have to take down the shields, and all you do to do that is just click on the shields and it'll take it off. But yeah, it's pretty neat. You'll notice I also have some Brave rewards here. 11.7 basic attention token. That's just in the last month. I did want to show you the rewards as well. And yes, these are the real numbers. These don't have anything to do with any tips or anything I've received, but I started using it, I believe, September or so of last year, and this is me using it on all of my devices, how many BAT I've received, and you'll see how much it's worth in US dollar terms here. It's pretty good. We're pretty much at the next payment date, and you can see how many ads I've seen this month. So this actually does start in at the beginning of the month, although they don't pay you for their previous rewards until the 5th. So I have pending rewards of 11.7 or $2.50. So basically, for just using my browser, I'm getting $2.50. And I also have another PC that I use uh, that gets rewards, and I have my mobile browser that gets rewards as well, and it adds up really fast. Um, I believe the payouts used to be a little bit higher, but it's still definitely worth it in my opinion if you just want to have some sort of crypto coming in your way. And if you don't want to keep the basic attention tokens, of course you can withdraw them, but you'll have to set up an uphold account right now to be able to withdraw them. But once you do that, you can sell them, do whatever you want with them. And speaking of that, I have had a few people tip me on YouTube with the rewards. So just to show you all how you can do that, you can actually see that I'm a verified creator here, and you can do a monthly contribution, or you can just send a tip if you wanted to. So that's something that's really neat. I've gotten a few of those. It's really nice to see that people are actually using those. I really appreciate that. But yeah, that's pretty neat. So you can also do this for yourself if you also do YouTube, or if you have your own website even. TradingView is also a verified creator, so if you wanted to, you could tip TradingView. Um, I think we all pay them a lot of money already if you're a paid subscriber, and if you're not, you're seeing ads. So I'm not really sure they need the tips, but they'll definitely take them. Another thing, I've also started another giveaway. I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but we have another $25 Bitcoin giveaway coming up here in March. I've actually already started the contest, and there's actually a question that came from the live stream that we did just yesterday. You can see that here. There was one thing that was covered here that we talked about. That's the answer to one of the questions, or something that you can go find out on your own. I might have even mentioned it in this episode, or this video, I should say. So it's something to keep an eye out for. If you click on it, it'll take you to Gleam. And you can see there's already some people who've entered who've been following me. I've posted this on Twitter and Discord already. So if you wanted to, you can go ahead and get entered into the contest. And this runs until the end of March, and the winner will be selected April 1st. But I'm going to try to update the question periodically so that those of you who watch the videos can answer the questions and have a much better chance. You can see those are worth much more, because it pretty much shows that you've been paying attention to the videos, or at least been watching the videos and being kind of active in the kind of YouTube community we've kind of got growing here. But other than that, I did want to touch briefly on Lightnite. I meant to get around to this a long time ago. I've been talking about this in some of my videos, but it took me a while to figure it out. I thought I already had an account set up, but with their new shop, or their store portal, I had to create an account or set up my password for my email here. But it's gotten started. You can see they have referrals set up, so if you want to check that out, I'm actually going to add this to the description of the videos. And if you want to get Lightnite, you can do that as well. You can see you can get a 20% discount, so you get a free skin and 500 satoshis. So you're going to need the satoshis if you go to play the game. If you've been watching and you're curious, you can use that 20% discount. It'll be in the description of the video. But what I did want to show you was their store and how they've got things set up. You can see their flash sales. You can see this is, I think, my avatar is what they call this, but you can see the things that you can buy. I'm not really too interested in purchasing anything right now, but they do have the models to where you can interact with them. That's really nice, and it shows you the price for them. And eventually I'll go through and actually go through the process of adding some Bitcoin to their site, or making the purchases on the network. I believe you just send them the Bitcoin and it will take care of that. You might have to have a Lightning enabled wallet to do it, because I believe all of their stuff is taken care of on the Lightning network. Now you can also take a look at the library. This is all of your items. I did the pre-sale, so I have several things already in there, and we went over the map. There's tons of stuff going on here, but yeah, I really wanted to show you that because they're going to have the single player coming out for this game. And if you're not familiar, they're going to use the Lightning payments within the game to reward people who win or perform better. So it's kind of interesting concept, something I'm going to check out and keep up with on the channel. I do cover crypto news and these other things occasionally. So if you just come here for the PineScript stuff, that's completely fine. You can just tune out on these videos. But if you want to watch them, I definitely appreciate that too. But other than that, I believe that's all for today. I'm going to be working on some other videos this week coming out. The RSI call-outs, the other indicator that's related to that. I might have a indicator explained video, and we might do something with Lightnite as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I might also share something with my automated tool that I'm making for my social media, but that might be a bit too much. So I appreciate all of you watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, especially if you like these videos or these types of videos. We talked about indicators, we talked about crypto, we talked about crypto projects, all in one video here. So definitely stay tuned if you like this sort of stuff. Please subscribe. I've already mentioned that, but I really appreciate you coming here, watching the video till the end like you have. That means a whole lot to me. So I really appreciate every one of you. I've said that a bunch, and thank you and have a nice day.